2025 to order. First thing up is Pledge of Allegiance.
Sure thing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looks like we have a new flag, and the bird don't have his wing broke. Awesome. That's good. Thank you. All righty. So, how's the agenda look?
It's good.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
We need to add on the other commission business, review of the truck bid that road department has submitted.
Okay.
Other than that, I'd make a motion we set the agenda.
Okay, second motion.
All right, moved and seconded with the addition of the road truck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By the same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Travis Hobbs, come up and state your name and what your
How are you guys?
job is.
Travis Hobbs, Rich County Fire Warden. I'm just here to give you guys my yearly update that I was trying to do earlier, so my apologies. It took me a while to get in. Just to run through, so last year we had 13 wildfire incidents. 2 fires of note, probably the Dry Fork fire. The combined total acreage on that was 1,341 acres, 924 of which was on BLM, 417 of private land. The cost on that fire is sitting at $1,093,064. Not that really, but it'll kind of make sense at the bottom. I'll kind of talk a little bit. We also had the solar farm fire, 22.87 total acres, and that was all private land. I just wanted to mention some concerns I have with, we've got some aging infrastructure locally with some of the districts. We did have some problems getting trucks to some fires. I think they're getting worked on. I think all of the, and it was some bad luck too. One thing that was a little troubling is Garden City, we had multiple trucks break down. But they have committed to buy a new fire engine. They're going to try to upgrade some of the fleet, but it is one of the things I'm getting a little nervous about is we're getting some trucks, like they're getting old. Garden City, some of their trucks, early 90s, late 80s. I mean, they're just getting some serious age on them. And I'll talk a little bit more what kind of some of my thoughts are, but it's just a concern I have. Recruiting, it's like kind of been my top priority. I want to make sure we get some firefighters, and as you guys know, volunteers are getting hard to come by, but I am happy to say we got 19 new red card certified firefighters since June of last year. So I've done 2 classes.
That's good.
Yeah, 1 from Woodruff, 2 from Randolph, 2 from Lake Town, and 14 from Garden City. Very impressive. So hopefully we can keep that up. We're going to try to keep offering as many classes. Like I'm going to try to just as many and whenever we can. We also have a few firefighters going to go through it's like a step up class, and then hopefully maybe 1 or 2 try to get their engine boss certifications or at least get working on them. These things take for years, and it's just something I'm nervous about. And I guess really I have 9 years of time before I retire. I'm not here forever. I want to make sure we have people to fill in these roles as time goes on, and hopefully some good local people that are familiar with the area, I think it's important. So projects and mitigation, I just wanted to mention that Swan Creek, Little Switzerland. Thank you guys very much for the gravel build. That really helped. We got that cul-de-sac installed on the Utah Division of Wildlife's property. They were very helpful in placing that all for us. That really got us out of a pinch up there. We kind of had a really bad thing going, and I'm really glad to see that mitigated and fixed. We have a few grant applications in through our state office. With some of the federal funding and cuts, I'm not 100% sure if these grants are going to be awarded this year. I don't know how it's all going to come up. One of the places we were looking at doing some stuff was continuing around. We do have a grant that we got around, so I was planning on trying to start at that in that Swan Creek, Little Switzerland area. It's actually kind of in combination with the Division of Wildlife, that property that goes over to Bear Lake West. I have a lot of concerns in there. Basically, access is just really hard. I have a lot of concerns with the fire starting in Bear Lake West, spreading into Utah. I mean, they butt basically the houses butt right up along there, doing some sort of a fuel break, getting that done. We do have some money already allocated for that. That work should be like, we should be going to bid and doing some of those projects fairly soon. The other thing is I'm hoping the Forest Service will maybe tie into that work as we proceed. It's going to take a little while, but that's kind of the plan. And I'd like to continue working on down and tie into some of our other fuel breaks that we've done above Garden City, Sweetwater. That's kind of, I think it'd be a good thing. How long it's going to take, I don't know. That's the hard part.
When you say you have fuel breaks in,
Yeah, so
what
there's been
in and out or what?
Bill, do you remember what year those fuel breaks were done around Sweetwater? Is that yeah?
You, when you say around Sweetwater.
Yeah, down below Sweetwater. I'm trying to remember. So we did a fuel break. The state did a fuel break in the county. You guys, I think it was down below Sweetwater Hill, Hodges Canyon. We also had some work done above Bridgerland Village on the yeah. And then I think it come into Garden City Canyon, I believe too. Did some work down in like Lower Garden City Canyon.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking 5 or 6 years ago.
yeah, at least that.
So is that
maybe
just
a little
thinning
longer.
trees out or what?
No, they went along. Well, it actually began at Buttercup and went, and it was it's a now it's a designated street for Garden City.
That's right.
But anyway, they come in with a road grader and did 3 blades wide,
Hmm.
and then come in and replanted it. And they
Was it where the field, or the, not the field, the water line is, the pump house?
No, it
It-
goes from Buttercup,
Kind of parallel.
goes Buttercup, and it was almost at that point in time it was on almost all Norm Meekum's ground.
Okay, so down below.
So and then across Hodges Canyon, and then went across on the part of Bob Spears' property up there, and went over all the way to went over to the very deep canyon right just below Sweetwater Hill.
The new Hodges Road absorbed it above
Yeah,
Cherimoy.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
that's where
Yep.
that's where that road is going.
Okay.
Yeah.
But basically, trying to start in a place and try to bring these fuel breaks together, I think would be good. The other thing we're trying to get, the problem is with some of this fuel break work is the maintenance to maintain them over the years gets like we get a lot of times funding, but there's no funding for maintenance, and it's kind of a hard, just one of those things. But so that's some of the like work we're doing. The other thing is I wanted to mention that House Bill 48, and Bill's has been familiar with that. Bill, the update I got yesterday was saying that it could go through the last minute of that was from our Salt Lake office if it does. But what that House bill, just to kind of summarize or give you guys like a little, it's basically going to be a kind of tax that will be put on each home in the wildland based on an assessment that we'll do on the home, and they will pay based off how ready they are for a wildland fire.
I think we're pretty, yeah, we're familiar with it.
But we have to designate who's in that zone.
Yes. And I think,
Planning and zoning is.
yeah, I think so. And it's a big workload. Like it'll be a lot. Like
Yeah.
Rich can't. It's going to be a lot.
Because if we don't do it, the liability then falls on us for not
Yeah.
complying.
But that'll fall in your lap.
Yes. And the funding from it. So I think the county is able to keep, as I understand it, a portion of it. The state will get some of it. It'll go into the mitigation fund, and what they're going to do as far as hiring people to do, I'm not exactly sure, and I think there's still quite a few unknowns, but I guess my take is it could be a good thing. What worries me is the insurance. There's a lot of insurances getting dropped in the county. I'm getting
Who's gonna be hollered at for that?
yeah.
Well, it almost seems like a state sponsored insurance, you know, why doesn't the state, if they're gonna do this, why don't they just,
Yeah, and I think there's been talk about that. I think the California insurance thing they had a really hard, like, it's not been a good, it basically went bankrupt in a year. I think what they're trying to do is find a way, like, how do you motivate homeowners to care about,
Fire break.
yeah, fire breaks mitigation? And I mean, at the end of the day, really, I think, and there's some truth to this, the only way you're ever going to really motivate somebody is money.
make it cheaper for them?
Yeah. So how it all works, I don't know, but it is, I think I am worried as this progresses, we're going to see more and more people losing their fire insurance. And it's not just happening in Garden City. I just actually talked to Dan Ames, Freedom Lane. They're getting, he's going through like a audit right now on his place. I think it's going to happen in a lot of different places that basically they're going to look if there's any type of risk. And what's not good is the way the insurance companies are going and doing this. It's it's basically they're kind of taking the easy way out
It's
of
giving them a
yeah.
loophole.
They're not like, I mean, they're, well, like my house, I'm surrounded by a hayfield. I mean, it's cut 2-3 times a year. And I lost my insurance at my house. Had to find a new company. Had a hard time getting another company to cover me. It, it it's going to be a mess. Rattlesnake Lane, over on the east side, or I guess it's called, I forget that subdivision's name. I always call it Rattlesnake Lane. It's Vista Grande, kind of there by the First Point boat ramp.
Yeah.
So I think there's 11 homes in there. 3 of them have lost their homeowners insurance, fire insurance. Just kind of a, yeah, one of those things. I don't know what we can do about it,
I would
but
think, you know, places like that, they're not bad. I mean, it's, you know, sagebrush, but I mean, it's not like big drooping trees out. Right?
there's some bad spots in there, but, and I think their water system, that's another concern I think these insurance companies have, is like they don't have fire hydrants in there that are like, so it's just one of those things is, yeah.
Yeah, they look at water supply and you know, they're looking a lot closer at the water supply and the availability of it. And
Yeah.
But like we need to give insurance companies another loophole.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
Sorry,
good.
that's just,
It's not good. It worries me. I really am. I'm worried about it. And I'm worried that once like the dust settles from California, how is it going to affect, you know, and it's already starting in Texas right now, South Carolina. It's just, yeah. But anyways, I am trying to work with a bunch of the homeowners insurance or the homeowners associations. Like I'm going to set up meetings with them and try to get, you know, to do everything we can to try to help mitigate problems, things like suggestions. A lot's going to depend on this House bill. If it goes through and I get like some direction on like how this tax will be, try to get like notifications out to people. Like, I don't know. we'll be in touch about it, I'm sure. So I guess we'll see. This is a weird thing, but Sweetwater Hill, I have went to them and tried to ask them to allow homeowners to burn debris. Been really pushed back on this. I don't know what we can do. They basically have a no burn policy year round. The fuel loading up there is getting out. I'm super nervous about it. There's homes up there with, I mean, a lot of stuff around their place. They're not allowing them to burn it, which to me is a good thing. Like if they're doing it, you know, with a burn permit in the off season, it's just we're reducing a lot of fuel. I'm just trying to come up with ways that homeowners can do this stuff for a reasonable price, and like burning really is one of the best ways. We'll see where we get with them, but I'm gonna be putting some more pressure on them. Tried, but I don't know what we can do, really. Just some of my concerns. So I just assistant wardens, standby wardens. Jaden Larson is going to stay on as the assistant warden. Rick, I guess he's really enjoying retirement, but what he has told me is he would like to help out as much as possible in the summer. He just doesn't really want to go to a job every day, like all day long. Riley Argyle also is interested in helping out. I would, Rick has, and I'll talk about this a little bit about the an engine, like the county purchasing an engine. Rick is in, like, gave a lot of interest. He actually took Lake Town's engine down to southern Utah last year. He wants to do that more, and I do think like we're kind of missing some opportunity to make some money. A lot of these counties, districts are putting these engines up when their fire season's not bad, sending them like to southern Utah, whatever. Like we'll get help from southern Utah up here, and they're making quite a bit of money doing it. I think I got it wrote down. So they brought in $36,584 for one 14-day assignment. So there is a way, and you know it's hard to say what fire season's going to be, but if we were to purchase a brush truck for the county, and Rick would be interested in taking it out and taking guys, I think there is a way. It would, like, we would obviously have to put up the money up front, but I think after a few fires you're really talking about getting, you know, all of that money back and then some, and actually helping build other things. And what I think would be really smart is maybe to do this once we get that truck paid off and maybe get some more money in the account, to maybe think about giving a brush truck to some of these other districts, like that take that brush truck, giving it to some of these departments to help us out with wildfire mitigation and response. What's hard for the county is you guys really are the purse for these wildfires. I wanted to talk a little bit about, so it's a 10-year average in the program, the CWS program. They take the highest and the lowest, and those go off, and then you kind of pay like an average. Our CWS commitment went up last year pretty significantly, Bill. I think it was about $5,000. That was not looking at this recent fire. So now we're going to have the 2018 fire on the east side of Bear Lake, and this fire kind of going against us. I guess what I'm saying is the CWS commitment's probably going to go up. So the county will have to come up with, you know, right now we're at 6,000. Let's see, 6,808. My guess is it's probably going to go up next year, and the way that they're running the program, they're trying to find every dollar I think they can in the state. This truck can offset that commitment. So that truck, like purchasing that truck, It's basically the first year they'll give the full PC amount. So that 6,000. So the county wouldn't have to pay the state $6,800 that first year. It would go like, so basically it's, you guys are showing, like, if you bought a truck, and I'm just throwing this out there, you're committed.
Would get the $6,000 discount
Yes, you basically wouldn't have
on
to
the
pay.
$130,000 truck. Because
Yes.
we wouldn't be paying that.
And then you would get 50% for the next 4 years. So basically another 12,000, but it's going to go up. Like I was saying, I don't know what it's going to go up to. So it's going to be at least, I mean, we're going to be saving probably $24,000 in CWS commitment. Just something to think about. I know, like, it's hard. But I do think if we do this right, I think we could actually, I think we would bring money in. I don't think it would cost taxpayers anything. I think we could really actually net gain on it. Throwing that out there though, fire season's gonna be weird. We could get a really wet year and not get, I mean, it's hard to rely on that, but I do think somewhere in, like, it will be burning. The other thing that we're having a hard time is getting guys enough experience. Like, to get all my stuff, I had to go to Nevada, Idaho, Box Elder County with Dan Ames back years ago. And that's really what got me the experience. I'm trying to think about the young guys and how do we get them enough experience that somebody can take my place someday, like fill in those roles. Got to get them really out of the area. And that's what would be nice. Like, if Rick's interested in doing that and Riley's like, he's given interest, he would be willing to do it. You have to be an engine boss certified. It's not like I can just hire anybody off the street to do it. They gotta have, and it's hard to get it. If they could take new firefighters with them, get them experience, I think it would be a really good thing. It's just my concern is over the years as we go, it's just hard to find knowledgeable people and to get them enough experience. Jaden's gonna also do some work in the high school I've like asked him, like, man, like, try to recruit some kids, like whatever we can do to get some more firefighters. I think it's vitally important, especially if we get a big incident. That's makes me nervous. Sweetwater Hill, you overlay the map of the fire we had above Randolph. Well, Sweetwater Hill, it's 100% consumption in 4 hours. Makes me nervous.
How old they have to be to do that? They have to be 18.
18, yep. And honestly, the class, like the basic red card class, is really not too crazy. Try to be as accommodating as possible. But yeah, so on the engine, just a rough cost. So this is based off of December 2024 prices, about 130,000. And that's pretty much getting that engine up and running. So right now, the engine Jaden uses is an FEPP engine. It's an old Forest Service engine, basically. I don't remember. Do you remember the cost last year that we had to put into that? It was like,
I have to go look.
yeah, but it was quite a bit. Like, it's getting old. I mean, Forest Service, like, give it up because it was getting wore out and not a reliable engine. I mean, it's working okay for us, but it does worry me. Like, relying on it's not great. But it's just something to think about. I mean, we're good. Like, it's just, I don't know, but I do think we could net gain on this, and I think not cost taxpayers money. I think if we do it right, we get some guys, and I do think it's something we could do.
So one of the issues that keeps coming up on anything that we buy anymore is the amount of time it takes to get it put together. That's the thing, waiting on a cabin chassis. How long would that be?
I did actually talk to Vanguard Ford. They've got the state contract. They do have them. They do have them in stock.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and I
I think you can get cabin chassis.
yeah, It depends a little bit on length and but like standard, like they had a 4-door in there, and I had that price is actually that's accurate because they keep that updated. It's 72,542 for that 4-door F550 with a Power Stroke.
Is that with an 8-foot frame?
Yes, I think that's an 8-foot. It might be a 9. I need to look at it. It's one or the other. It's not.
Could be a 9, it's a 550. Guess you never know though.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I was actually surprised. I thought they all were 9s, but I think some of them are like
The 550?
Really. When they go to the 4-door, I think I don't know that, but I'll verify on it. But
So initially, would we purchase this truck and place it in a fire district like Garden City or?
so what I would do is I think we would purchase it and let Rick or Jaden use it. And the other thing is, I would like that truck to be here in July, like, mid-July. Like, if we are experiencing, like, if fuel moistures are such that, like, we have a high fire risk, I want that truck to be here. I don't want it out, like, like if it went to Cache to help them or Box Elder County or something, I'd be okay with that. But I'd want that truck close. Like, I wouldn't send it out on, like, a 14-day assignment to California in our bad time of year.
What's like the lifespan of a truck like that before it
Well,
starts needing
so the state now we're trying to get 10 years out of our engines. It's been about 5 years, so that's frontline engines going every day, and we want them like service ready. I think 6 to 7 years is like for somebody that's going to be responding in it is no problem. Like up here, but it depends on kind of too how many fire calls they go on. Like if they're going to California, they go to Southern Utah for 3 to 4 14-day assignment. You're starting to get a little more wear and tear, but I think you'd get 5 6 years for sure. But saying that truck, even at the end of the 5 to 6 years, putting it in service into one of the volunteer agencies, like as their frontline engine, it would be one of the best engines we have in the county at that point still. So it would be very beneficial,
Yeah.
like to give that. And that's like a program Box Elder County was doing. Like they were putting them in, rotating them in, trying to incentivize the departments too to help the county out. Like, hey, whoever has what, like, come up with some program. Like, you get a few firefighters. Like, well, here's a truck. The county maintains it, still gets the money off of it, but it's just there at the district. So, like, the county could bill on those out, even with that truck in another. Like, the county could still bill the time for that truck, like on a federal fire or a delegated fire if it goes out. It's this program started quite a few years ago. That's just how a lot of the different departments and districts are trying to keep up with equipment. It's a kind of a tricky thing. We are like the workforce, we don't have a big workforce, but I think we got enough guys that we could do it. And Dan Ames also told me he would be interested in going. What I hate to see is like when Dan and Rick are too, like they don't want to do it, too old, we kind of lose that. And so like right now, it would be a good time. Rick can't do anything until July 1st.
This year's up.
His year will be up in July 1st. So that is one caveat. But I bet the truck, like if you told me today, like let's do I bet it's probably going to be June, July before it even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to look at the budget.
The other thing I just wanted to mention, I do need to get some radios updated, like so about $5,000 in radios. I just wanted to mention that for the county.
I thought we had tons of extra brand new radios.
So we have to use Wildland like field programmable radios, so we have communication
proprietary to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's communication with the Forest Service. Yeah.
Okay.
So I do need to do that. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
A little bit out of the budget there. So
What's those radios going to cost for fees?
Sorry, Bill, what was that?
What would the radios cost per year?
So the handheld is 2,200, and I do have it's on the state contract. It's 2,200, and I think it's 3,100 for the 3,200 for the other one. And there was so the truck. The problem is that FEPP truck doesn't have 150 megahertz field programmable radio in it, so it'd be like a mobile unit in that truck. There's going to be some antennas and wires too, a little more, but I think the bid was, and I could send that to you guys too before, but like it is a state contract. It's about 5,200.
And that gets how many radios?
Two
Handheld.
handheld and yep,
Then how many do you need?
just two. Two will be good. We'll get by with
2 sets.
no, just
Just the
just
handheld.
you just five, yeah, just a handheld and yep, and that'll get us by.
Is that in? We put some money in equipment.
And I think in the fire account, I think we had a budget line item for tech, and I think we should have it.
Yeah, I think you should have it in.
Yeah.
I don't know what line we'll take it out of, but
Yeah, I think there was a couple, like there was equipment, there was a tech, there was a few line items, and I think I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I should.
Yeah, I can get those numbers for you.
Yeah, but I think we should be good with yeah. But I hate spending money before we go through fire season because I don't know what that season like. It's
well,
one of those things we kind of got to have.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think at this point in time, I'd make a motion to authorize you to go ahead and get those 2 radios.
Okay, second.
Moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the same sign? Motion carries.
Perfect.
Get them coming, and we'll look at this truck situation too, and see.
Perfect.
In the meantime, one of the things we're having trouble with, and I see you've got light sign and radio install. This is Young Truck and Trailer. Our last sheriff's truck, they were 8 months before they got.
So I called Young for Garden City. I've been trying to help Garden City. They're supposedly like a couple weeks out.
Oh.
And Young just got the state contract. They've never done this before. Like they used to be a place you get flatbeds, buy trailers.
Right.
Well, now they're getting into this aftermarket. Yeah. They actually, so how I found out about this was Cache County just had them build a truck for Hiram. It was Hiram City, I believe. They did a fantastic job. In fact, it's better than some of the companies you're dealing with the sheriff's truck. So it's something to consider even for them. But yeah, they did a really fantastic job.
They need a little
We
competition.
And it would be nice to not have to go to Salt Lake if you have a problem. Like to be able to go to Logan would be.
Oh, that's where ours are getting done, is in Logan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've got an office in Salt Lake,
Gotcha.
and they've got one in Logan. And
Gotcha.
That's where we've been working on. But we've got a sheriff's truck that's been sitting 6 months that we still don't have really switched over.
If you want, I'll give you that kid's contact.
Give it to Dale.
I'll give it to him because I'm pretty impressed. But they've been yeah. And it's actually Kobe that used to run Polson's that's running the pretty good. I'm pretty impressed.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good. Because that's the thing. That's what I say. It's kind of like our ambulance. We're finally going to get our ambulance 18 months after we ordered it. In 18 months. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, and it makes you nervous. You got to have this. It's not good. And I was nervous. So Gardens, on this truck build, they've been waiting on a radio. I finally found. So they need a radio to install to try to run the wires all at the same time, so you're not recutting into it. So they've been waiting on this radio. Told it was going to get here in January. Well, they've kicked them back multiple times, but I ended up finding them in stock for Premier radios. But I'm nervous that I want to make sure that truck, I want to make sure theirs is up and running. Like I hope they have it up and running
Some,
by fire season because we're gonna need it.
It's just crazy how, far out this stuff is anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, anything we do, it's anywhere now from 9 to 12 to
Yes,
15 months. And,
yeah.
it's not good.
you put it in a budget one year and
You're in the other year.
we're in a whole nother year, so, if you think, obviously, about the install, I mean, of the bed and stuff, I guess what I'm wondering is if we can get it, if you order it, would we even get it in this year?
So she's telling me, and I'll get the details on that truck and I'll get back with you, Bill, make sure it's like exactly what we need. Cause I think we do need a 9-foot bed, and a 4-door, because if they're going to take this truck, like to Southern Utah, one of those single cab fire engines, it's not ideal with all their gear. So I'd like to make sure we get like a 4-door, but if it is something, she did have them in stock there. And that was that was state bid price at Kangar.
I guess what I'm wondering about. So we're just gonna put a flatbed on it then?
Yeah, so it'll get a flatbed, and Polson's would do that. Larson Apparatus, and he's North Logan, convinced, no problem, can get it done by July. Like I said, like I hit him up because asking about Garden Cities,
Okay.
and they're like, no problem. And Polson's will do the flatbed, the winch, so the hose tools, I'll get that separate. Lights and sirens, they're gonna do the radio install. And both radios, so there's 2 radios it needs, but they'll do all of it.
Okay.
Larson Apparatus will do the pump, the tank, the hose reel, and then like the boxes on the top. Yeah.
We'll look and see where you're at on it.
Perfect.
So,
Okay, guys. Sure appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let me know if you need anything.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
You do such a good job.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you.
Pam.
Hi.
Hey.
Cornia.
Good.
Good.
State your name and what's your
Cornia. I'm the GOP chair. Just here to talk to you guys about commission, the structure of the commission. So we had that meeting, and I've tried to call everyone that was a precinct chair and have a lot of conversations with people. Nikki talked to some folks, Mike talked to some folks. Mike is out of town, so sorry he can't be here. I think he had something come up, so she couldn't come either. But we would like to talk about maybe taking the commission and at least creating districts for our 3-man commission that we have now, so that we can ensure representation continues for everybody in the county.
Okay.
Yeah, so I called the lieutenant governor's office because, it'll take a while to happen. I don't think it would happen until probably our 2026 election is when we would want to try to make sure we had it in place. Because obviously you guys have to form a committee to study it and make sure it's okay. And then I did talk to, oh my gosh, I just forgot the county attorney's name. Ben?
Ben, yeah.
Ben, I talked to Ben because I called the lieutenant governor's office because my concern was if we ended up with 2 commissioners in 1 district, would they continue that term until it expired, or would they have to be replaced? They didn't know the answer, so they said to talk to Anneliesa and him. So I talked to them both, and it seems to be a question that's not really got an answer. So I think if we could get it in place for our 2026 election, that would probably be our, I think, best, but
My question is, the gentleman's agreement thing
Mhm.
has been in place, which I guess doesn't really exist apparently. But if we did that, it was geographic, not numbers.
Right.
And I wondered if we could do it geographically,
We can,
like the gentleman's agreement.
we cannot, it has to be by numbers.
Census numbers,
Yeah, it has to be by census.
and not even registered voter numbers, has to be by census numbers.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you'd basically end up with the same thing you kind of already have with the gentleman's agreement. You'd end up with Woodruff and partway into Randolph maybe, and then Randolph to the other end, and it would, you know, North Randolph would probably have to consume some of Laketown to take Garden City, and then Garden City would have its own. I don't know if it's perfect. I don't know. I just know that myself and quite a few people are concerned that we lose representation anywhere.
Okay.
So if that's something you guys will consider and let us know, then we're gonna have another committee meeting, central committee meeting, probably the end of March, maybe the first part of April. We'll sit down and talk about it again then and go from there. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so if, well, I guess, so if we, I guess if you don't get any, the response you like from the commission, what is the mechanism for the community members to,
So then you go to a referendum, collect signatures, have it put on the ballot that way instead of the commission doing it.
and you need 30% or 40%? I don't know what the number is for referendum.
I can't remember the number right off the top of my head either. I think it was like, I thought it was 40%, but I could be wrong. Might even have been 50% or more.
No, it's not 50,
I don't know. I've had a lot of
It's
notes.
enough to
swimming
be
in
worth,
my
it's
little
enough
head.
to be hard, but it's not
Right.
so much that it's,
Right,
you know, impossible.
right.
I have a quick question on that. So if you did have to have a referendum, it would have to be on this year's ballot.
Right.
Well,
It'd
if
be-
they missed it, then we just go on the next
Yeah. And then,
coming election.
yeah,
So, if you wanted it in place by 2026, it would
Right.
have to be on this year's ballot.
right.
Or you could do it at the same time as 2026 and just hope whoever you're running, if passed, falls into those groups, but
Yeah.
it'll all work itself out.
Because you two are up for election in 2026, is that right? Because you just got elected in 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do I think it's perfect? No, I don't think anything's perfect. I don't think anything will ever be perfect, but I think it's a good way to protect Woodruff and Randolph and Laketown and Garden City. I think it's a good way to protect all the communities. There is still a lot of people who like the idea of a 5-man commission and think that that's what we should do. And I mean, I don't know the answer to that because there's, like I said, there's not a perfect answer. Obviously, I was raised many hands make light work, but I also know that the more people you have to try to have to make a consensus, the harder it is. I mean, so there's pros and cons both ways. I think our 3-man commission has worked great. I think we've had a lot of, I mean, you guys do a great job, get a lot of great things accomplished for our county. No, you do. I mean, I know that. You know, I've talked to a lot of people from down in the legislature and they tell me all the time how good our commissioners are and how good they do for us. And I agree. We have a lot of things happen here that I was talking to Anneliesa about it the other day. We just don't know about. You know, everybody thinks, oh, commissioners just go sit at a meeting once a month and that's what they do. And obviously that's not it. But
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And appreciate your
you
work.
know, and
Thank you, Pam.
you're welcome. And I'll
Keep
try to-
following up.
You were supposed to send me a phone number, do you remember? Tiara.
I did.
Tashir, or whatever her name is.
What is her name?
Tiara.
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 Her last name's something.
Yeah.
I don't know what her last name is.
No.
She hasn't responded to any of
Will
my
you just
phone
have
calls.
to speak to me again?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think I have it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Yep. Okay. We doing this on phone?
Mm-hmm.
Josh Burt.
Let me get you his number.
So we probably need to figure out if this is probably not the process in the future that we want to modify occupancy for short-term rentals. You know, we don't want every time somebody changes the amount they have license to ask the commission. We want probably to ask
P&Z.
P&Z or whoever P&Z designates, you know. That would suck. Yeah, probably P&Z.
Makes sense.
Right here, I was gonna have him. Hi, how you doing? Is this Josh?
Yes, this is Josh.
Hi, you got the Rich County Commission on the line.
Hi.
Yeah, Josh, why don't you go ahead and tell us your thoughts, what you got going, and what you're thinking.
Yeah, so when we originally submitted our license, it was approved for 22, but we only have beds for 14. So we have it advertised and listed to sleep 14. And when I paid for the permit, I paid for 18, thinking that's still 4 more than what we have beds for. We have 3 queen beds and 8 twin beds. And so I'm just like, we don't really need the permit allowed for 22, so I'm seeing if we can get it adjusted down to 18, if that would be acceptable.
So if it only sleeps that man, how come we ended up with it 22?
I don't know. That's just what the fire director approved it at when he did the walkthrough, thinking like maybe people could sleep on the couches or on the floor. But that was when he did the walkthrough. It was before we had the furniture in and everything. 4 years ago. But then we currently have beds for 14, with again three queen beds and 8 twin beds. And you can look through the pictures and see. I submitted the link to the listing. Anyway, so you can see. But I figured that if we did 4 more, that would allow for if people wanted to bring like foam pads and sleep on the floor. Which so far, to my knowledge, people have not. But I figured I'd rather have the wiggle room in case we needed it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, if that's what the amount of people Josh wants to register, then I'm fine with that.
So I'd make a motion that we allow Josh to adjust the numbers on the permit to 18 occupancy from 22.
Yeah, well, he paid from 18. I think he wants to go to 14.
No, he wants to go to 18.
18. Okay.
Is that you want to just pay for 18?
Yeah, I'd like to pay for 18 just in case somebody brought a larger group and then brought like foam pads or something to sleep on the floor, because there is space on the floor, like in the family room. There's just most people don't do that, but I'd like to have it just so I don't get in trouble in the future, you know, in case a bigger group comes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion on it? I would say, Josh, that I received an email from our planner over there, Mitch Polson, and he was good with this and figured it's all right. So,
Okay, wonderful.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Guess you're good to go.
Okay,
So what do we?
wonderful. I'll let Mitch know, and then we'll get my permit renewed.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say what are the next steps?
All right. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Mitch also said that he thinks the application needs to be changed and include a box where the applicant can request a number that they would like as a limit.
Well, that's something we can certainly discuss.
Rather than just leaving it up in the air.
Because right now, because we changed the licensing based on occupancy. I would like that too, because it would give us a good chance to let people declare so that we know at full capacity, here's theoretically how many people are in Rich County in those short-term rentals if we're completely full based on what they have asked to have licensed, if that makes sense. Because I've always wondered what the actual number is.
Yeah.
And then probably just like administratively have planning and zoning handle any of those little changes.
Agree. Okay. Next planning and zoning, maybe we can put that on the agenda to work with that. Yeah. The box and
The next planning and zoning agenda?
Do you think we need to do any sort of public? Can we just add, since it's an administrative part, can we just add that stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
So we probably don't even need it on the agenda. We can just do it.
no, apparently not. So, okay, Kim.
Kim Wilson, Rich County Assessor. Okay, I have several items of business. Let's do, the first one I have is Health West has submitted a continued exemption form for their property, the clinic over there. And it was the Bear Lake Community Health Center, but Health West bought them out, so that's why it's in there.
This is the new one or the old? The old.
That's not the one associated with Montpelier
Oh, okay.
Hospital. I haven't heard anything from them yet.
Okay.
Or seen anything from them, so.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Singly?
Yeah, because we did some of the other ones. We did the LDS Church one, and we did the Boy Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done that.
I'd make a motion that we accept the application for property tax exemption for Health West.
I'll second that.
Okay, moving seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed by the same sign? Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you. We had those two cases that were the state appeals that were remanded back to the Board of Equalization. So I have the Sims one, and it looks like the evidence that he submitted, you had to make a decision based on the information he submitted. And this is the information that he did submit last time. Do you each want a copy, or do you want to just look it over? I know you've seen it before. But
Let me again where it's at.
this is up in Lakota, right by the road.
Yeah.
It's the big square. This is the big square, right by the road, right across from Camper World.
It's right on the highway.
Yeah. But it just says that you are to review the evidence that the property owner had submitted, and then make a decision based on those merits. That's one we didn't need any more information on because he did submit those pictures and then the letter.
These pictures make me miss summertime.
Yeah.
It's coming. I saw
Like,
robins. I saw a couple of robins on the courthouse lawn.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, so
They're starting
it's
to come
coming.
back. we have some pigeons, doves that live outside our house that come back every year, and they showed up last week.
So what action do we need?
Just need to make a decision based on his information. I don't think he's met his burden of proof to disprove our value, because there's not a whole lot of information there. There's no, I mean, it's pictures and hearsay, basically. One of the sales that this one did not sell, it just went into a family name. This one sold, but it was in 2019. And there's nothing to back it up. He's got the pictures, but he doesn't have any data to back it up. And then some of them he's just talking about the cabins, which there's no information for you guys to make a decision off of, in my opinion.
Do you have his original stuff or no? Like what we assessed him at? I'm sorry.
I don't,
It's okay if you don't. I was just wondering.
I can go get him. I can go get it. We haven't changed
How
it
far were we off from what he thought we should be?
quite a ways. Because he's telling me it was all used stuff and he can't sell it, but
Well, in his response here, he says, I was looking on the computer today at some comparables, and those cabins are between 450 and 550. I believe the value is between 400 and 500 at the very highest. Please adjust our cabin's values and taxes starting this year. So I guess what did we have him valued at?
I could go look at
Yeah,
that, because like
really.
you said, we had made we dismissed it because we didn't have enough data, but
Right.
state says we do have enough data.
This is kind of surprising. That you could get another built for 240.
Which one is his? Which one is he talking about?
One just as you just pull in the driveway down into Lakota, it's the very first one that's right next to the hot road.
Our cabin.
See, there's the stop sign.
You mean the one with like the steps going down into the river? Or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. Is this across from? Yeah.
It's on the lake side, right?
Yeah, but he has the river runs or the stream runs.
Yeah,
The creek runs.
One creek runs right down behind the.
And they have like stone steps down. It looks really cool. Would you build that again for 240,000? Okay.
That surprises me. these open Boweries that are costing 80 to 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so I apologize, I should have brought all that information.
You're good.
So we have him valued at $837,013 for 23. This is a 23 appeal that was remanded back. 100,000 on the land, 737,013 on the home. And
And
it's 3,218 square feet, and it was built in 2007. And that's the home that we're looking at.
we did it at what? 8 what? Or 7?
It was, the whole total value is 837,013.
That's land and all.
That's land and buildings. And then here's all of my 2023 sales data. If you want to look through there, I don't have any other sales in Lakota, but there are quite a few in the area.
How many square feet did you say?
8,300 and
3,200.
or 3,000. Sorry.
3,218.
Yeah.
And do you value the cabin alone?
Yeah. So the cabin is at 737,
737. Okay.
and then the land is 100,000. And he's in the Lakota subdivision.
And they already appealed, and
They
what was the
appealed.
decision?
And we didn't make a decision, we dismissed it because of lack of evidence that he
Okay,
didn't meet his
right.
burden of proof.
Right.
So then they came back and said that we had to make a decision based on the information that he had submitted.
Oh, okay, so
This stuff that the letter and the pictures that he had submitted.
there's no like not doing anything with it. You either have to approve it or not, is what they're saying.
Basically, where they don't want us to dismiss it, and if we do, then which I'll get to next. If we do, we have to give them the intent to dismiss letter, giving them 10 days to
Okay.
provide information.
Now I
And they
remember.
got the letter.
How many bedrooms was that?
These guys didn't, Scott Sims did not get a letter because they said that we needed to make the decision based on the information that he had provided.
So
Because he had,
what is your thoughts on his statement that comparable ones are between 450 and 550?
it depends on what you're comparing to, because there's a lot of homes over there, and the bigger ones seem to, well, they're all over the board as far as sale prices. In fact, I can give you, this is just in Lakota, which is, or not in Lakota, excuse me, Lockwood, which is right there kind of by Harbor Village. The top ones are all residences. They sold in 23 or 24, and you can see the sale price there, and then you can see the market and then the sale price. This is 24 sales, so this is a little bit newer.
So one's land, what's IMP?
Improvements.
Improvement?
That's the building. That's the
Okay.
homes. Yep.
They might have already asked this, I'm sorry. How many bedrooms are there?
On his, I am
It's 3,200 feet, 30 square
3,200
feet.
square feet.
That's a pretty good size.
And it does have the built-in garage on part of it.
Is that included in the 32?
Oh no, wait a minute. Let me see. I got some more papers in this one. Oh, here he's filled out a question. I can tell you how many bedrooms. He says he has 5 bedrooms and 2 baths.
These that are close to the size. They're all like 3188 square feet is a million. 3,000 square feet's a million.
And that's just an example of one subdivision. And like I said, I've got my sales book that has all of the sales,
Do we have any sales at all in Lakota?
not for that year. No.
These $1 million ones are in 22.
No, they were, these are, so 22 is the year
Oh,
they
yeah.
built.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see kind
So
of.
they
what
are,
year.
so they're new.
So we've got some that are older that were on that list, 2007.
2008.
And I had him started building in 2007.
So they built during the recession, probably at rock bottom prices.
Yeah.
We could go down a little, I think, according to these.
The other thing you need to consider is, did he meet his burden of proof in what he had sent to you?
Well, a picture with just something that's written on it. It really isn't a document. I mean, he's got a picture, but he just made a notation on it that, I'm trying to think what was
Yeah.
it,
Here's another copy.
these are comparables. Cabins away, double size lot. We don't know that, across the road from cabin.
Well, I'm like, this little cabin that he's got a picture of isn't even comparable to his size of home. But like I said, this is your decision.
So, one next door bought for 139,000 2 years ago. We don't even know how big the cabin is. I mean, that's the thing. The comparables, the pictures, I mean, they don't really, we know how big his is, but we don't know how big these others are.
Yeah.
So as far as meeting his burden of proof of documentation of actual sales,
I'm kind of with Bill that I think that for the record, for future, like he says somebody came up and gave him a bid for 240,000 to rebuild it. Provide the bid. And some of these other numbers that are thrown out there, we need actual documentation to make decisions. And I think we'd all be happy to adjust prices based on proof, especially when it comes to property taxes. But I don't think we've seen any verifiable proof. And so we just have to trust, what's around him. And that's what you've already done with your assessment. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts. Because I'm looking at Swan Creek, and even they're pretty dang close. Some of these newer homes, they're listed right now for a 2,500 square foot, 799,000, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. And it's up at the top of a hill. That's a pretty good spot.
Okay.
So I make a motion, and I don't know if these guys will second, but I make a motion that we deny his bill, keep the values as they have been set based on the fact that there was no proof provided. Verifiable proof.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the same sign? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. The next one I have is one that we missed. It was emailed into us by Blaine Moon, and it was emailed We'd sent it in plenty of time, and we had missed getting it printed. And so this is another Board of Equalization that we did not have, that we didn't bring to Board of Equalization. It just got missed in our emails. Here's the information that he sent in. We found it. He had sent it to the Assistant Assessor computer. The Lockwood sales that I provided are right in the same subdivision as his. This is his,
These are the same sales.
and this was a 24 appeal. This was for just the last last year. So this is a current appeal. And like I said, we failed to get it before you at the Board of Equalization meeting, so I'm bringing it to you now. He had emailed us or called our office to find out what the status of his appeal was, and we went back through and found where he had emailed, and we'd just missed getting it printed and getting it put before you.
How do you know where to send that email? Like,
We have it when we send out the forms. We have a letter, and it's on the form where to email and all of that stuff back to. So that's part of what we need to change. Is that it comes back to you.
and I get a lot of them. You get some, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the past, our email and everything's been on there. Both of our emails, for my front office and for mine. And then sometimes they send them to both. Then sometimes they send it to you. But if we get that all cleaned up, it actually should come through you. Because once I set my values, I shouldn't have any more to do with this. As far except for bringing my values to support the values that I have. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we have him at 769.
No, we have him 8,000 or 898,000.
Oh,
898.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I see
788 is the building, and then 110 on the land. And his home is 2,832 square feet. That's what I'm showing. And it was built in 2020. And when we put the U-builts on, we put when they start their building. Some people put when it's finished, but we usually go when they start.
what are you thinking about that 769 500 number?
The only thing that concerns me is he's used Zillow and there's another cost estimator or realtor.com
Yeah.
program. There's no additional sales information present. I don't know what they've compared to come up with their estimates or Zestimate, whatever they call it. So I am just, like I said, for me, as looking at it from my standpoint, I would want some sales data to back up what they've provided in their cost estimates. And that's not there. So I would need some factual data if I would to support a change in value on my stuff from the assessor's point of view. But I don't have the latitude that you guys have.
So,
Bill, did you see these or no? These sales from
He's got
Those sales,
those sales are within the same development.
they're the
Right,
same
right.
Okay.
same development.
yeah,
Just make sure.
And the bottom sales are just the land only, so you can see where the land values are in relation to the top sales. Those are all residential. Those are all home sales.
right.
Yeah.
So I just had a little experience with Zillow, and I don't think it was realtor.com, but it was another place you could look your homes up on a home, and it was in another county, in the same state, but it was in another county. And that that showed, Zillow showed, and the other one showed that this home was worth, between 415 and, 450,000. And they had it appraised, and when it come in on the appraisal, the appraisal was 555,000. So, you know, when some of these are, I mean, they had an official appraisal, so, it kind of tells me that these aren't maybe too close to being accurate. I guess basing an appeal on a Zillow ad, and all it just says is, you know, um, I mean, it doesn't give any comparables. It's just, I think it's plugging numbers in, but and apparently this one is just an estimate on the home. And I don't know that this is, what's his address?
That's
685.
685 North Rockford Drive.
Yeah, so the real estate estimate is 749,000, and then down here it says buy now, sell later for uh, up to 824,000.
So he does have an appraisal on the file that was done in 21 that came in at 710,000, but it's an old appraisal. But that was in 2021.
Okay.
So if that helps you at all.
On this guy, I'm actually inclined to agree closer to his value, only based on, it's hard to find somebody with the same square footage that has sold recently, but even some of these smaller ones, I mean, they're closer to the 800,000 than the 900,000.
Well, if you look at the square footage over in the close to the parcel number there, they're all over the board.
Yeah, I was trying to find one because you said 2200, 34, 2234,
2832.
2832. Okay, so this one sold for. Never mind, I take back everything I just said.
So according to this, it's at 2,775 square feet, and then a 6,500 square foot lot. So
I think based on what the vacant lot sales, I mean, I think we're in the ballpark on the vacant lot sales.
okay,
Like I said, and then the homes right there.
Excellent.
I feel I'm in the ballpark because of all the homework that I did to come up with a value initially. But like I said, I have to be fair and equitable among all the properties where you can look at just one property.
So I'd be happy to lower it to the lowest sold one that's about the same square footage, which was
285, right?
825.
Oh, 825. Yeah, sorry.
Because there's bigger ones that have sold for 850. I don't see any that have sold for, I guess this ginormous one.
So you're only dropping it 60 or 70,000,
But that's based off of, again, this is different because we actually have sales data from a lot of neighbors, where the other one we don't have any data.
Yes.
So I would make a motion that we adjust his value down to 825,000 from the
890.
to match.
898,000 to match the value of the closest sold property, to just if we're going to do this in the future from here on out. I feel like that's a metric we can continue to follow. That's my motion. I don't know if you want to discuss it.
Okay, I think I'll second.
Okay. Got a motion to drop it down to 825, matching the current sales around it. and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Can I get that information back from you? We probably don't want all of this information all out there. Thank you. To 825,000.
Yeah.
And I will get, do you want information? What do you want copies of? Do you, when I will finish this out because it's a 24 appeal, so I will do the letter and everything on that.
This is gonna get messy, isn't it? Like,
Going here and there and everywhere.
yeah, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be, I guess, but
What's that?
changing values around and everyone's, you know, my
Who
neighbor's
wants
this and,
Well, once I close my tax roll the end of May from 25 on, then I'm not going to make any more changes to the assessment roll. That will have to be Anneliesa, which as the auditor, that should be her job.
yeah.
And
But I
because of
just
the
been doing it correctly. It's a lot more
yes,
person, but you know, based on what they
And
bring in.
yes, it's
Well,
going to get
Gonna be based on their evidence that.
Yeah,
yeah.
and the effort.
And then I'm going to also
It-
have to
Yeah.
put forth my effort, which I'm kind of looking at doing something with the spreadsheets, with the sales information, if you guys are okay with that, as far as me, because there's no way I have time to do a full-blown appraisal on anybody that's going to come to Board of Equalization. So, which I usually take the time to do to go to the state. But, like I said, this is going to be kind of new territory for all of us, I think, for a little while. Okay, the next thing I have is the World Mark appeal that was a 23 appeal, went to the state. They remanded it back to us because we didn't follow through and do the notice of intent to dismiss the appeal and give them the 10 days to provide the data that was missing. And so I sent the letter out. This is the exact thing that I sent. I actually emailed it first, and then I got information back from Melissa Crawford, who said that that would suffice. In fact, I emailed it once, didn't know that it went through, so I emailed it again, and then I got information back, because she was asking if it was the same thing, and I said that it was, and I asked if she wanted a hard copy, and she said that that would work. I have since had no information back from Worldmark, and which it's not Worldmark, it's the people that are representing them, which is tax advisors. And that's where I sent the information to, was tax advisors, because the owner had given permission for us to send everything to tax advisors to act on their behalf. So I sent everything to them and got notification that yes, Melissa had gotten it. I have heard nothing back. Not an email, not anything. And I checked with my front office as well to see if they'd heard or seen anything coming from them. So at this point in time, I think we can go ahead and dismiss this appeal for 2023. Because they have provided absolutely nothing to us.
Okay, I'll make the motion to dismiss appeal 23-1735.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And then the last thing I have is our personal property exemptions. And so on this list, I just made one list and we didn't make a bunch, but I'll just kind of show you. These are the ones that have paid. They haven't cleared yet. Some of them will be sending a check, but they have done it online. So these top ones have done it and either paid. Some of them don't want to pay with a credit card, so they're printing them out and sending them by check-in. But they haven't all cleared yet. Some have and some haven't. And then this from here are the exemptions that have done theirs online. So instead of bringing you the actual exemptions, so you can see we have quite a few that have actually done it online.
That's with your new program?
With our new program, they've signed the exemption. So instead of bringing the actual exemption to you, I'm bringing a list. So if you have questions, we can print out the exemption and bring it in if you have questions about it. But these have actually signed them online.
Do they pay online too?
Yes, they
That's
can, or they have the option to pay online with a credit card or a e-check, or they can print it out and actually send a check in. which we've had one do so far. And then
That's cool.
those are the options that they have at this point. We do have one here that sent their exemption in because it was a company that either a leasing company, this is a leasing company, and they have kind of set up their own system from previous years, and they do this for companies across the state. And so they actually sent their information in. And so when that happens, the gals in my office will go in and put their information in to our system and then update the dates and everything as far as getting their stuff. They do it by hand. So we're pleased with the turnout that we've gotten so far. We just got these out just a couple of weeks ago, and we've already gotten a good response back. Because technically they're not due back until May 15th. And the sooner that we can get them done and back, the sooner that the people are done with everything.
That's cool.
So we're excited. We're hoping that this continues to just become a good thing. We're still getting phone calls in, and my girls are taking plenty of time to get on with them to explain it. Everybody hates the tax, which we get, but they don't. We're trying to make it as easy as possible.
So tell me again, the top list.
That's the ones that owe money.
They just want to send a
But
check.
they filed.
They filed already. They've signed their signed statement. They just
Haven't paid.
They haven't paid, or they paid online, or they printed out their bills. So they have the option of, to do an e-check, a credit card. There is a convenience fee with a credit card. There's not with an e-check. I think it's like a 98 cents or 50 cents or something with an e-check. It's very minimal. Or they can print the bill out and actually send it in by check. And so we've tried to accommodate it what they're, what might be in their best interest and what they prefer. So not a huge response yet with people that have paid, but, and like I said, they haven't all cleared, which we're tracking with Luke Jean to make sure that once they pay by credit card, it takes 5 days to get back that they have paid or haven't paid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's the leasing company one if you want to look at it. But before, we used to send the signed statement, wait for them to send the signed statement back, update their information in our system, and then either send them a bill or the exemption statement, which now
This is a lot
Janie-
easier.
Janie Sorchuk with Norm Meekum, she called the other day, and one of hers we had a glitch with, and that's when we caught one of the problems that we fixed, that Brian fixed it, corrected it, but she said, I love it. That was her words, I love it. She said, this is awesome, because it saves so much more time and the back and forth in the mail. And mail's getting more and more expensive and less reliable. And so we're hoping to clean up a lot of that stuff by doing this online. And it gives people the opportunity to input their stuff. They still are subject to audit and verification by the State Tax Commission, which we will have, plenty audited this year just to keep up. We have random audits and selective audits that we do. And that helps to further educate and to update. So we're pleased with what we're seeing so far, just after 2 weeks of
That's
being
good.
out there.
Good.
So based on that, I need a motion and a second to approve the exemptions. And then, gentlemen, always when I bring a list, if you have specific items of concern that you want us to look at, I can go and they can print the documents. We're just trying to get rid of paper. We're
Yeah.
overrun with paper, so if we can get stuff more on the computer, and hopefully maybe in the future we can actually bring it to you online
Okay.
for your review.
Motion to approve the personal property tax exemptions.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the same sign? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Are there anything else that you have for me?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Guess we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your
Thanks,
kind
Kim.
effort. I'm taking myself look back. You're good with
Okay.
that?
Yep.
And this is always available in my office. I can't share this with the general public because it's given to me in confidence. And we're not a disclosure state yet, so as long as we're not a disclosure state, I'm supposed to keep the sales information I collect confidential.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay, on-demand ballot printer purchase approval.
Okay, you guys have a copy of the estimate from Knowing. Sorry, this is Anneliesa Peart, clerk auditor. The recommendation from the Lieutenant Governor's office was to get an on-demand ballot printer that will help us to be able to just print our own ballots instead of having to rely on a ballot printing vendor. What's happened before is you have to have like a minimum, and we kind of we end up buying more ballots than we need, just to meet those minimum qualifications. So they recommended getting this. I had this plus another estimate quote from ES&S. I know that Knowing is the company that the state has contracted with to replace our current voter registration database with. So Vista is going to be replaced in a couple of years. Well, I keep saying that, it kind of is a long process, but they're the company that are doing that. The prices were very similar. I went with Knowing, recommending Knowing because they have a cabinet for storage that's easily identifiable and easily show tamper evidence, so that the public can easily see that the printer and the ballots are protected. So, do you have any questions on this?
So once you print them, then you're gonna have to put them in the envelopes, right?
Mm-hmm. Which we have to do anyway. Because we aren't able to find a printer who will stuff the ballots of such a small size.
So the printer we've been using hasn't been stuff in the envelopes.
We've been stuffing the envelopes since I came into office. Becky in 2022 had problems with card printing, and we were told not to use them for, well, the state came up with a law on who we could use.
So when they come out in the mail, you've seen those ballots before they come out in the mail from the printer?
So that we get the ballots printed from the printer,
Yeah.
and then we take those ballots and we stuff the envelopes and send them out. I have card
So-
printing helping us do our
So
envelopes, like with the addresses and stuff.
so why are we always looking to see if the ballots come?
Tell me what you're talking about.
Well, so
Oh, the ballots are coming from the vendor to me, and then we're stuffing them and sending them out too.
but they don't come in the vendor to you. They come out addressed and are in a tray that comes from the vendor.
No. Nope, we're stuffing those, and they're pre-printed from cars. So we're waiting for the envelopes to come
Okay.
and the ballots to come,
Okay.
and then my office stuffs them
Okay.
with the insert. So
Then why aren't they being mailed at the direct post offices?
and then we take them to the post office when we're ready to mail them. And then they're going out in the mail. I'm sorry, I still don't understand your question.
We don't think you're putting them in this post office.
Oh, we haven't. There was where did we send? It was the last one
We
we
took them to Evanston one time and we took them to Woodruff.
Woodruff one time. It's because we run out of time, or we would. We have to have them postmarked on a certain date to get them out, and we run out of time every time to make this the Randolph post office.
And they all went to Salt Lake.
Well, when we went to Evanston, they did. What I don't know what happened when they went to
Woodruff.
Woodruff.
Went to Salt Lake.
Really.
And if they go to Randolph, they don't go to Salt Lake.
Well, if they're designated in Woodruff, Randolph, Lake Town, and Garden City, and they're taken to those post offices, no,
They've already arrived.
they've stayed right in.
Oh yeah, and we take our time to separate them all by town, and we give them here's a stack that goes to Randolph, here's a stack that goes to Woodruff. So if they're still all being shipped off, then why are we doing that extra step?
The LJ's office prefers that it goes through Salt Lake so that we get those markings as part of the tracking system
What markings?
as well. There's when it goes through the machines down in Salt Lake, it puts a little barcode on the bottom, and it helps with the tracking.
Is that going out or coming in?
Both.
Both ways.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they want. We should take them to the local post
Right,
offices.
it's part
I mean,
of this update.
the important fact is that they get a stamp with the
The date.
postmark. And so I take them wherever I can get that postmark, whether it's Evanston, if I missed the cutoff date or cutoff time for Randolph, missed the cutoff time for
Okay, I guess I'm confused about everybody looking for ballots.
oh. Um
Because those trays come with a red tag on them that say ballots. And they're in an envelope. They're already stuffed.
yeah. We stuff them, we take them to the post office. What happens after that is out of my hands.
Okay. All right, so this means that, what does this mean?
All this means is that we can print our own ballots instead of
The
having
printer's gonna cost us $8,000.
yeah.
Do we have that in the budget?
We should be able to get most of it reimbursed. I can. It's not directly out of the elections budget, no.
Oh, okay.
Guess my better judgment, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and allow Anneliesa to purchase the no ink printer.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna second that in just 1 second, but we need to make sure that there's the policy with this printer coincides with the policy with about, they need to travel together. We don't want ballots just printed, we want. It's kind of like money. You don't want to just print out ballots when you need them.
I mean, that's kind of the point. Is actually like on election day, we have like when we order so many from each precinct, and so this would be like instead of keeping them on hand,
yeah.
you would print them as you need
Well, I
them.
guess I'm saying we need a log of when this machine prints and what it does, so that when we get audited, we can say, hey, we printed 640 ballots. We've got back, 620, but we don't want to say, hey, we printed 640 ballots and we have back 810, like what happened?
Right.
So we'll need to be careful with logging, because elections are just going to get scrutinized more and more as we go. But I'll second Bill's motion.
Okay. Got a motion, second. Any other discussion? Is there a chance that there can be 200 extra ballots printed and out there?
Honestly, this would contain how many ballots we have printed better than what we're doing now.
But we need to be able to look back and see. I'm saying, like, keeping track of when this
Log.
machine is on and what's going on. And that we need to have like some record that we can point to when people rightly want to come and check what's going on with their elections.
And I haven't taken a look at the software. It might do something like that. It might
Yeah.
track, every time we're printing some. Whereas right now, we don't have that capability. We just know how many we ordered and how many came in.
But did they make you like sign in to do anything with the counting machines, the ballot boxes? Did they make you do any sort of reporting on.
We keep crazy logs of the keys, we log the numbers coming in. It's,
So I would say that this needs to be folded into those logs.
yeah, it'll definitely have sealed logs.
Yeah, and that's again, like, that's why I went with this one, because it has like a cabinet that we can
Okay.
put seals, make it very visible that we are protecting the equipment
Yeah. Okay.
from hackers.
Well, or like, so, you know, it would never happen, but somebody going, okay, this family's out of town. I'm just gonna vote for him real quick,
Yeah.
you know?
You know, I can speak for the fact that it's really hard. Is it possible to that somebody, you know, those reports came back from the state that they say, okay, we found this person whose vote counted and they had deceased, you know, and so they, as they look into it, they're like, oh, you know what, this person actually deceased after they mailed in their ballot. You know, there's different variations. It's such a protected system right now that I can honestly vouch for it, that it's only going to count one vote.
Yeah.
Can people mail in more than one ballot? Yeah, but do we have systems in place to stop that? Yeah. And the likelihood of people, you know, most of the time that happens, it's like when people sign for their relatives, like they have a missionary out, or they sign for their spouse, and you know, things like that. And there's checks and balances in place for that as well. So it's pretty hard to vote more than once.
I guess I have a question. What happens if somebody accidentally ruins their ballot? Can they come in and request a new one?
And that would be an advantage of the print on demand. They would hand over their bad one, and we take over, you know, here's
And you guys would log it, so it's like, oh, we had one extra ballot printed. That's why we have one less returned in now our logs. This one was destroyed.
Yeah, and we do have pretty hefty logs in place on, you know, things that are coming into the office. Anything that's going out and anything that's coming in is recorded and logged, and anybody can come look at our paperwork.
Yeah.
Once it's out, you know, like from the moment I order from the ballot vendor, I don't have any control over any of that. I can only control what's in my office when it's here. So
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So you're approved, I guess, for
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Bye.
and then maybe John can speak to this agreement.
The first responders first. Yeah, so we talked about it with Dell in our last month's staff meeting when he was talking about Bear River mental health and then having a second option with the first responders first. I think first responders have the ability to use whoever. This just authorizes them to go to first responders first as well. And it looks like Dell 100% supports it. It looks like Sim probably already signed it, but
Yeah, they made me come in.
that's okay.
We need to ratify it.
I'd make a motion that we ratify and approve this agreement to allow the first responders to use this service as well. First responder first.
Second.
Okay, moving second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Reset April commission meeting day. I guess we've done that.
Not on the record.
Okay, based on some conflicts of the first Wednesday of April, I would make a motion that we reschedule for the second Wednesday of April for the 9th of April.
Okay, second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Looking at the 9th. We'd already reviewed the truck bid. That was
Well,
What was it?
we need to look at its budget.
oh yeah, okay. Resolution authorizing agreements between the Rich County Clerk and the towns of Woodruff, Randolph, Laketown, Garden City, to administer the 2025 municipal election.
Okay, these resolutions are recommended from our county attorney, as authorizing to have an agreement between, so that during the municipal elections, the county has the things that we oversee and the town has the parts that they oversee. Writing of an agreement with a scope of work, helps identify what those services are. And there's also a request to ask for a specific amount that they pay us for the services. It's not a large amount. It doesn't quite cover our expenses, but it does help provide services to the county or to the each of the town. And until we have a better way of tracking exactly how, have a few more years behind us modernly, like currently what the cost per voter is, then we can up and change the amount that we're charging each town if they modern, as in like it's costing more and more every year.
As we update our equipment and technology, then we'll get a better feel of
Yeah.
what the price is.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So each of the towns we have, this would just be for you guys to sign off that you're okay with me having an agreement with the scope of work for each town for the municipal elections. I have it for each town. I've heard back from Garden City and Lake Town. I know Randolph for sure. I haven't been able to get a hold of Woodruff. So I'm just creating one just in case they have an election. If they don't have enough people sign up, then there's a possibility that they might not have an election. So
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the resolutions with each of the communities to administer their municipal elections.
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. What did the towns tell you that you talked to? They good with it?
yeah. I'm visiting Lake Town Council meeting tonight.
Do they use our ballot machines or do they just use paper ballots? Like,
No,
what do they do?
it's all like if you look at the scope of work, we handle
We
this
do
exactly
it.
the same way as a regular election.
So we'll be printing their ballots for them.
We'll be stuffing their ballots for them. And
Will we have this in time to do this new ballot printer in time to test it out?
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
I've asked them, I want them to be a part of like the auditing and the logic and accuracy equipment. I want them to be here on election day at the voting center to help process ballots.
Okay.
They're taking, they take care of public noticing and candidate filing and financial disclosures, but otherwise everything else is run exactly the same way that we do other elections. So these are the ones that you would sign. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Thank you.
Who have you contacted and wondered?
I've tried calling, getting a hold of Allie DeRue, called the town office, and I've tried calling Dot Susie.
Okay.
And I'll keep trying to call them, so.
Yeah, I just give you some contact information.
Okay. Like more than. Okay,
Maybe.
thank you.
Okay. Can we get a look at the budget for who wants that new truck? Is that what we want to do?
Oh,
Yeah.
we need to look at the budget. We need a budget to look at.
We have finalized a few things on budget, if I can get into the system to finalize it, but we'll see what I have.
Road department and, fire, wildland fire.
What about our wildland fire suppression fund? Can we pull out of that? Is that what you're thinking? So it's gonna make a little bit of money, but I bet you Travis could do it.
You know, check this out. Just said you needed them.
Where is she sick?
She must be a, yeah.
Yeah, because we got quite a bit in there right now.
Well, it looks like quite a bit, but then you saw that one fire, what that cost us,
Yeah.
or the cost of it, thank goodness. But
Just so you know, I contributed. This is my rollback taxes. Thought it would have been way more.
For where
Yeah.
your house is?
Yeah.
Your house. That's 5 years rollback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, not you.
Lunchtime alarm.
Is that what that's okay? Yeah.
Not that you're looking.
Yeah. Did you look at the bills yet? Bill? The expenses?
yeah,
Are you okay with a motion?
yeah,
Okay, I'll make a motion. We approve the expenditures for last month as presented.
second.
Moving second, all in favor, say aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I read through the minutes. They looked okay. With a brief read through, so I would make a motion to approve the minutes for February 12th.
Second.
Okay, minutes approval. Moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We can't have an executive without it being wrote here, right?
Right.
We should put executive session if needed.
We have done in the past. I don't know why it's not on there.
Let's do that every time. Okay. I guess we're waiting on the budget and then that's it, eh?
We probably ought to approve the repair of the compactor since it's a pretty substantial amount. It's not on the budget, but or it's not on the agenda, but however, we need to get it.
Yeah, based on the emergency of it. The compactor up at this landfill. Back
I
fell
thi-
apart. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to do is I would like to make a motion that with some clarification that the repair be done with the range of between 43,000 and 33,333, depending on which is the best option for a complete repair. So I would just make the motion that that repair is going to be in that range until we know exactly, well, until it's actually finally done. So
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion on the repair of the compactor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By the same sign, motion carries. You got all this, right? Since she's out. Okay.
and got the expenditures done, minutes.
Right, the noon on the
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Second.
moving second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
This is